There we go. Got TikTok on board. Welcome in. We got Twitch, TikTok. Let's see. And YouTube is here. All right, welcome in everyone. John here, staff software engineer, 10+ years of experience, lead maintainer for the open source Latterly.io. And I've had a blog for years, like I think more than 10 years. And that has been afterecon.com, which refers to my training in economics. So I started the blog when I was an undergraduate at the University of Houston. And then I proceeded to get a PhD in economics. And I blogged throughout and then after these degrees. And you can see it's a 404 not found. So it's down. And it has been down since I think March or May, like early 2024. There was an issue with GoDaddy where it's been hosted for years and years. And I filed multiple tickets and they couldn't fix the issue. So I'm abandoning WordPress and I'm leaving GoDaddy. In fact, I've already transferred the domain over to Vercel. The transition was pretty easy. And I transferred the domain and I never set up the actual blog. And so that's what we'll be doing today, is building an open source blog. Here's the repository. Created this today. And the main task here is to get a PHP dump, PHP myadmin, a MySQL dump, which I have as a text file, and transfer this into something usable in the repository. And ideally, I think I'd like this to be statically rendered for performance. So I'd like this to be a markdown blog. As the initial cut, maybe this changes later. And I'll show you this nasty file we're going to deal with. Let's see if I can open it with Notepad just for now. So here is 21,500 plus kilobytes of text. And I'm going to use an AI agent with the cursor agent to translate this into markdown files for my blog. Let's see if it works. Let's go. So I've cloned it. I'll cd into After Econ. Then I'll open up Cursor Composer. What I found, and you may have seen this in a previous stream if you've been following my recent expeditions, adventures with AI agents, Cursor and Lovable Dev are the two best ones. I want to avoid using a database, and Lovable tends to push you in the direction of using a database. So for that reason, I'll prefer Cursor in the current stream. And you may have seen in the previous streams that one problem with getting Cursor to build is getting it to attach to the right directory. So I've created this repository with a README and a gitignore, and I'm going to anchor the language model to the README so it knows where the README is located on my file system. This seems to be particularly a problem on Windows for whatever reason. Maybe it's the difference in the file path syntax. But I've seen that once I can get it to update the README file, basically the AI agent is aware of the structure at that point. And then, so in the past, proceeding has been pretty straightforward. So I will start with a new composer, fresh context. And you can see it's already brought in the README precisely because I created it and I had it open. I'm not sure, but I think having some text in there also helps instead of having a blank README. The tools seem to be able to attach better. I say the tools, really particularly the cursor agent. Seems to be able to attach better to a non-blank file. So here I have this README, and I'll give it some instructions. I'll say, let me even move this file. I'll move a copy of it. So I'm not changing the original, but I'll move a copy of it over here. And ideally I don't commit this because it's just huge and like messy. But this way the agent will be able to read this tool, and we will see this. I think this file overflows the Claude Sonnet context window. I think it's too large, and I could be wrong about that. But if it's too large, the question will be, how does it handle it? How does it handle it? Okay. So I've got this composer window open, and I'll contextualize it with this SQL file. It's resisting even bringing it in here, isn't it? That's interesting. Okay. I would like to create a markdown blog which translates, I'll rename this for ease of reference. What will I call this thing? PHP myadmin. I'll call this WP dump.sql. WP-dump.sql. I would like to create a markdown blog which translates a PHP myadmin SQL dump into markdown blog articles. Then builds the articles into a website using SSG or static rendering at build time for high performance at runtime. The markdown, and one thing I might do is I might split the file into chunks. That would be fine. If I have to cut it into 10 pieces, that's still much better than going through the articles. There's, I think, hundreds of articles. I haven't counted them. And maybe the composer will build me a script instead of outright translating. Either is fun. Either is fine. The markdown file is called wp-dump.sql. Create a basic blog UI and either outright translate the SQL to Markdown or create a script that does the same. Let's go with that. And I should have asked it to update the README as well. Well, anyway, it anchored properly, so it's updating the folder. So the attaching seemed to work. It's going for Tailwind. I love to see it. So here I'll npmi. Seems to be some issue in the package JSON file. Oh, I need to accept all. Let me accept all. I didn't accept those changes. Oopsie. Make those code changes once more. I accepted them improperly. Flashcards inserted to the database. What's going on here? Oh no, it's, hold on, cancel this. It's remembered a prior composer session somehow, which I don't want. I didn't want it to do that. Let me delete these things. I want it to be aware of both the... There we go. Okay, now it knows about the SQL file and the README. I have initialized a new repository with a README and a wp-dump.sql file, which is a PHP myadmin dump of a WordPress site. I would like to translate this into a Markdown blog. Create a blog UI and outright translate the SQL or create a script that appropriately extracts blog article content, created, date, author, name, and so on. Make sure to preserve links. I think that's fine. We'll see. We'll see how rough my prompt engineering is right now. Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for being here. Throw some likes on the video if it seems interesting so far. We're just getting started. I'll make sure to actually click the accept button this time. And it's butchered. You can see there's a syntax here that's all messed up. So I'll accept these changes. The package.json is malformed. Create it again. And the formatting on it is good now. So I'll accept it. Now I have a package.json. I see no dependencies or scripts to run the blog website itself. Let's add those and emphasize a modern, stylish UI with light and dark mode. Cool, this looks much better. Notice that I did not specify which framework to use, but it's chosen Next. Let's accept all. And what is the latest version of Next? It's version 15. I see we are using Next v13. Should we update to 14 or 15? And I'll just say, let's upgrade to use the app router with v14 or v15. I'm not sure exactly when Claude's knowledge cutoff is. Yeah, it looks like it's aware of 14, but not 15. So we'll go with that. I'll say we have added new code appropriately. Scan the code to remove any obsolete references, preserving the stylish UI. Because I noticed that I have a pages directory still here. So it's going to remove the pages directory. Very good. Okay. And it updated my gitignore. Okay, this is great. So here's the feature init website, init blog. I'll just say init blog. Let's try to run it. So I'm going to npmi. Oh, I just converted this. I just committed this SQL file. npm run dev. Okay. TikTok, how's it going? Is this Cursor or just Copilot? It's Cursor. Yep, we're using Cursor. You good? Welcome in. Omo, thanks for the follow. Thanks for the likes, y'all. Already 500. Claude, you said. Yep, we're using agent mode with, you can see right here, Claude 3.5 Sonnet in the agent mode in Cursor. Are you a developer? Yep. What technologies? So I did not specify the framework, but it chose Next, and then I asked it to upgrade to use the app router. So we're using Next.js v14. Tried installing Cursor on Ubuntu Linux and it wrecked it. Yeah, I've seen it work best on Mac, and I've seen it work pretty well on Windows as well. This is a Windows computer that I'm using today, and it works pretty well, but I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't work on all those Linux flavors. I'm a QA. Welcome in. I think QA is actually going to be more important in the future with AI tools, because even as a developer, most of what I'm doing is testing the AI suggestions. So I'm really doing a lot of QA activities, and then you give it feedback, and then the AI can go, oh, like, you know, that, like here I see some webpack issue. It goes, oh, like that didn't work, so it can use that context to improve itself. So here I'm telling it about this conflict. Oh, I guess I didn't delete the pages folder. That's my fault. Let's see what the agent does. Are we working right now? It's a side project. Okay, so there goes pages directory. There goes the styles directory. I'll delete them this way. I referred to the after econ folder, which is not a nested folder. That's why the deletion failed. By the way, we're also streaming to YouTube. If you're on TikTok, if you're having a hard time seeing the screen, check out the bio. You can get a link over to YouTube and see the screen a little bit better. I'll copy this fragment of the logs. Ask it to update the README. In the meantime, I will run convert. Let's see where it placed these content posts. Converted 0 posts to Markdown. Let me give it a bit of the a fragment of the SQL file. I'm not sure that it read it. It could be that context problem. What technologies are in demand right now for QAs? I don't know. If you go to Indeed.com, you can search, and it will be the skill keywords on those posts. I think the industry hasn't heavily adopted things yet. You obviously have the leaders who will have the AI requirements, but that's a very small portion of the market. The bulk of the market, I think, is going to be requesting those legacy tools like, I don't know, let's even check. Your legacy test runners and things like that. QA engineer. I'm searching in the United States. Your mileage may vary. Years of experience, cool. So they're not even specifying a particular tool. It's just like if you have experience. I think this is pretty common, actually. A degree, everyone loves a degree, right? Certifications for QA specifically help. Not random certifications, particular ones. So make sure you're looking at the particular keywords that are common. Here's a QA automation engineer. Yeah, Selenium. And I think this is pretty common, is that you're still going to get a lot of people asking for Selenium, WebDriver. I think this is still pretty common. So I do expect the industry to shift, but it takes a lot of time. This is not something that changes overnight. Playwright, Selenium. So I would be looking at these if I were you. Do you think AI will replace computer science? Do you think multiplication will replace math? AI is a special field within computer science. It won't be replacing computer science. It just enhances computer science. That's the right mindset. Thanks for the question. Global Sin, thank you for the question. So no, AI will not replace computer science, but it will change the way that we execute engineering. So software engineering jobs will be plentiful. They currently are. I expect them to increase in Q1 of 2025. But AI usage will be a valuable skill in the field. Does that make sense? That's my perspective. What do you think? So here we will chore RM extraneous folders. I don't see the README being updated. Where are you based? I live near Washington, D.C., in Virginia. Northern Virginia. Facts don't care about your feelings. Nobody's hiring software engineers anymore. Yeah, I don't think I said anything about feelings, did I? That was not my intent. So I was making an economic prediction based on data. And so, yeah, my prediction was about Q5. So the fact that hiring is down in October, November, December, this is like normal in the quarterly schedule of hiring. It's not surprising. Those are some facts for you to consider. I live in Burke. Phil, we should connect offline. Check my bio and you should be able to see a link to my LinkedIn page. Maybe we can get coffee or something. Burke is really close. Hiring has been down since 2020. Larry X, all right. I love a verifiable factual claim. So let's check this out, because this is not true. This is actually not true. So here's the St. Louis Fed. And you can see it has not been down since 2020. Cool. So hopefully that changes your mind. I'm a senior in high school. Do you think I should go in computer science? I think it's a good field. Yeah. There's other good fields, but it's a good one. It's a good one. Maybe you could minor in a data field. I think that would give you some more flexibility. So you could do comp sci with a data science minor, something like, or a data analytics minor, something like that. But a computer science degree is still very fine. Larix says 2022 then. Yes, it's true. In 2023 and 2024, it was low relative to 2022. Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Notice that the baseline here is still pretty good. So this is an index, the 100 baseline. We are under baseline. And it's been a bad half of 2024, no doubt about it. So that should make my prediction interesting then, shouldn't it? I could give you all sorts of reasons why this went down. The election actually was a big one. You can go look at other election years. You can look at 2020 itself. Notice 2020 was down relative to 21 and 22. If you go back and look at 2016, 2012, 2008, same thing. There was a great recession in 2008. So election years cause fear and anxiety in the markets because of the unpredictable nature of the election and the fact that there are so many contingent possibilities depending on how that election goes, and the markets have a really hard time sorting out what's going to happen. But now that the election has resolved, executives can go in and do their 2025 annual planning, which they've been doing. So they're not hiring in November and December because they were waiting on the election results so that they can execute planning. And now they will execute planning, and they will allocate their budgets going into the new year. And that's why we should expect a hiring pop in 2025. Pull up a chart about how many new grads are churned. I mean, send me one if you have it. How many new grads are churned? 40% of employers avoid hiring recent grads. Is this interesting? I don't think this is new. This has been going on forever. Employers are generally skittish. But when I say generally, I mean like 40%, which is not the majority, right? So it's generally easier for a senior engineer to get a job than a junior engineer. Like, this is not a new thing. Still, you can get a job. So two things are true. One, employers prefer senior engineers, but two, many employers also hire early career engineers. Both are true. So at the market level, you don't need 100% of employers to be like, if you're one of these people, if you're like, I expect 100% of employers to be like competing for me. Newsflash, that's not how the world works. But you can still get a job. And I've helped dozens of people do this. If you have any trouble, let me know. There are a bunch of concrete practices to improve your resume, your portfolio, your interviewing skills, your networking skills. And a bunch of these areas are areas where new grads are deficient. So what's more interesting than the top line is that 40% of employers avoid hiring recent grads. That's the top line. We should ask the question, why? Why? What are the reasons? And the reason is not just because they're new. The reason is because they have skill gaps, predictable skill gaps. And hi, my name is John. I have a PhD in economics where I studied employer preferences, particularly in the tech market. And the skill gaps, particularly soft skills, are found at the entry level, and these directly impact your ability to social network. They also impact on-the-job performance, and employers will often say that they're worried about the on-the-job performance, but from the job seeker perspective, you should be caring about the ability to land that job, and your soft skills need to be sharp there as well. And so I think, particularly in the field of computer science, where people will say things like facts don't care about your feelings, there's a clear demonstrated deficit in soft skills, which is going to correlate with and even causally explain an inability to social network, and that directly impacts your ability to get an interview and then pass the interview. So this is one of those areas where I can really help, and I've helped with many people many times, is soft skill development. communication, networking, and more. Personal brand development. Conscientiousness is a trainable trait. We talk about it as a personality trait, but you can actually train conscientiousness. And that's a really good move for a lot of people. EQ. EQ is actually not innate in the way that IQ is. EQ, emotional intelligence, is at least as powerful as IQ in explaining career outcomes, but it actually refers to a skill set, not an innate like genetic condition. So I appreciate the side quest there. That was a fun chat. Let's get back to coding. By the way, hope you'll follow the page. I'll definitely do some follow-on short-form video content explaining that in further depth. Consider liking the video. Thank you so much for being here. Consider liking the video to help the algorithm send the video to other people who might need the help, right? Not having experience, yeah, that's a real problem, and there are ways to address that. So the main way to address the problem that an early career doesn't have experience in the eyes of the employer is to utilize a portfolio. So if you build a portfolio, you can claim experience to the employer. Not gonna lie, during the interviews, I'm the most charismatic, but once I land the job, I become antisocial. Josh, thanks for the vulnerability and the honesty. Well, that's an area we can improve if you're interested. Just takes practice. Where companies recommended for QAs? Check Indeed.com, LinkedIn Jobs, and so forth. You can go to the Latterly blog and there will be recommended, let me show you the blog article, recommended job search platforms. Which article is this? I should just add a search function on the website. Let's see if I can go to Google. Site latterly.io. Underdog is one of these. No? Hired.com. Oh wow, I need to get my blog index better. Sorry about that, y'all. Well, in one of these 15 articles, I list the, oh, it's right here, leveraging top job boards. So leveraging top job boards will, these are the job boards that I recommend. If you're wondering where to find employers for various skills or whatever. Is Simplify good? Simplify is pretty good. I have not personally used it. Let me make that caveat. But I hear from other people that it's good. So maybe I need to go back and update these job boards. To my understanding, Simplify itself, maybe they added a native job board, but I think mainly it's a tool for applying at other job boards, which puts it in an interesting product category. But I've heard it heavily recommended. And in case people aren't familiar with this, it'd be Simplify Jobs. Do they actually have jobs on the site itself? So they have this Copilot tool. It's worth mentioning. Let me put it on the GitHub backlog. And there's some others like use massive AI. And there's some others. Thanks for the questions, y'all. All right, let's get back to coding. User, thanks for the follow. Random facts, thank you. Very welcome. Phil says, add a search function to capture what people are searching for would be a great way to get insight. 100% agree. I just noted that in our Discord. You can join the Latterly Discord, by the way, to make feature requests besides the GitHub Issues tab. What's going on here? Look, cursor is having trouble updating the README file. Okay, it says applying. Interesting. For whatever reason, hitting that retry button worked. Okay, so now we have a README. Let's try to npm run convert. Pabby, cool username. I've programmed a lot in VBA and Excel, a little in Kotlin. I've been using Cursor to build an app. Do you think someone would hire me based on that experience? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I also have some Visual Basic and Excel experience. Fun stuff. Toby, thanks for the follow. Would you recommend me take the hardware or software route as a sophomore computer science in uni? Definitely software. Let me tell you the reason. Well, they're both going to work, okay? But if you think about the way that the industry is moving, the next step after language models will be robotic embodied AI. So there is a hardware component, particularly in robotics, though. NVIDIA chips, like, it's important, so there's going to be plenty of demand. But software is more flexible just on the job count today. And also, it's a better branch into data science. So it's going to be much more flexible because of the data-related job families. But I think this, so that's the long explanation, or sort of the moderately long explanation. I think that the shorter explanation is just, let's look at the job count. Software engineer, 52K jobs. Hardware engineer, 33K jobs. Okay, so they're both going to work, but one is about 50% better. Hey, nice hoodie. Do you want to show the chat the hoodie? All right, chat, check out this hoodie.
No.
Love you.
Love you. Are you good on like food, snacks, drinks?
I can always take more coffee. Hey, quick question. Who do girls think are cuter? Scientists and researchers, hardware people like building physical computers, or programmers? Definitely programmers, she says. Okay, there's another reason. W. Udi says the chat. There you go. So now you have several reasons.
At Udi and see if they'll sponsor me.
Marcy, welcome, Marcy. Are you trying to land an entry-level role? Me, or are you asking the other people in the chat? I have over 10 years of experience. I don't need an entry-level role. I'm paid multiple six figures. You would need to, it would be hard to get an entry-level role that could come anywhere close. I went to a boot camp, but always had trouble building projects on my own. Do you suggest AI? Yes, I do. Good question. Good question, easy answer. Okay, lots of questions in the chat. I'm liking them. Keep them coming. Please answer. What is GitHub? Wow. GitHub is the place where you can store your open source code. So it's a really powerful portfolio tool. Let me tell you one thing that I like about GitHub. This is how you demonstrate experience to your employer. You see the green squares down here? They show that I've been working. Do you use it? Yeah, you can see I've been using it since at least 2013. So this is how you can prove your experience time through a portfolio. Is you can say, yeah, I wasn't making a paycheck, but I've been working on open source since whatever date. Now, how many squares you have doesn't really matter too much. It is conspicuous if you have like one little square and then nothing for like a year. This mainly only matters at the early career level. For senior developers, it usually doesn't matter too much. There's exceptions, but for the most part, it doesn't matter. But to get that starting point is a real big move. Yeah, but you can do a script to fake those. You can. And as someone who has done hiring, I would say two things. One, if you can create and like use a script, you're already showing entry-level competency. Two, if you're that creative to do this sort of workaround, it is divisive. Like different people will say different things, but a significant number of employers will say it's already like creative and smart enough that like we'll give them a shot, at least give them an interview. And three, it's pretty easy to spot. It's pretty easy to spot fake contributions. And the way you do this as someone who's reviewing a portfolio, it just takes 2 clicks. So I see the green marks, and then I go, okay, let me actually look at your code. And if I actually look at your code, I can tell whether it's fake or not, basically, because it just looks like gibberish with a lot of those commit fakers. Lucas, thanks for the follow. Is game modding a good place to learn coding? For the most part, no. You can do it, but it's a very roundabout way to do it, and you're going to have niche information that's not going to apply to most jobs. Well, you can just commit fake to a private repo and they don't see any code. Yeah, you can do these gimmicks and they will work sometimes. There's all sorts of stuff you can do, right? You can cheat in an interview. You can get your uncle to give you a referral. Aren't these like hacks and cheats? Yeah. And for the most part, they don't work. Sometimes they do work. At the end of the day, if you get a job, I'm happy for you, you know? But I will say, when you commit to a private repo, this is, if I look at your portfolio, I won't see the code, and that's a red flag to me. Very direct, easy thing to verify. So you can try, as the job candidate, you can try to say, well, you know, it's proprietary, whatever. Good luck. I hope that works. Data shows that the best way to build a portfolio is to build it transparently. Latterly recommends the Big 4 projects. And you can run the statistics and you'll just see that the job search performance is better if you build a quality portfolio. First blog article right here, building a quality portfolio, the Big 4 projects. So you can do all these like strange workarounds, and yeah, sometimes you'll hear stories that somebody got a job that way. It's usually not a good look, but it can happen. There's a big difference between what you can do and what you should do, right? Big difference between what you can do and what you should do. This is the recommended approach. Very, very highly effective. It's been a long time that I see code, can I do this job? Well, you need to brush up. Right? Probably if you're on the job today, you're going to, it's going to be a bad look. But you can still brush up in, what, 3, 4, 5, 6 months? Something like that. People that got actual software jobs do the work in private repos. That's right. That's why when I talk about the portfolio, and I've said this, but I'll just repeat it. This is mainly important for early career programmers getting their first, maybe second role. Once you have several years of commercial experience, people care very little about the portfolios after that point. I will say, when I bring up Latterly, it's still considered impressive. But this is not like a standard portfolio piece, right? This is like a big website with lots of users. So a bit of a different ballgame in that regard. What are the latest programming languages? I'm really not interested in answering that. I mean, I could say Rust or Kotlin or something like that, but you should not be trying to, what level of seniority are you, Homar? As an early career individual, you are working against yourself. You are foot gunning. You are hurting yourself. If you try to target the latest, coolest, newest technology, what you want to do is target the in-demand skill sets, which are middle market. Most people are using them. They're not these exotic tales. So yeah, if you want to be an industry leader, if you're a senior plus, I would recommend you check out Rust. It's not the newest language, but it's a really big trend right now, and it's on the leading edge. So Rust is really cool, but if you go to Indeed.com and if you look for Rust engineer jobs, it's going to be a small number. Okay, so there's hundreds of these, not tens of thousands. Kendrick, thanks for the follow. Homar, I meant what's in demand. Sorry, Python and JavaScript. Python and JavaScript. So that's the answer, basically. Python and JavaScript. Larry says Next, Node.js, that's it. Yeah, pretty much. So if you're not familiar with Next and Node, these are tools in the JavaScript ecosystem. And so Larry X is right about that. What about iOS? iOS is in demand. It's in lesser demand, but it's still absolutely popular. So iOS engineer, well, look at that. You need to play around with the keywords. A lot of times it'll say like mobile engineer. So, thousands, but not tens of thousands. You can absolutely get a mobile developer job, but it's relatively niche compared to general software engineering and full stack development. So if you want to capture the wide net of possible jobs, I recommend starting as a full stack developer and specializing later. I'm an undergrad in computer science. Cool, thanks for being here. Welcome in. Over 1,800 likes. Thanks so much, TikTok. Really good chat. Lots of good info going on today. Thanks for being here. Hope you'll follow the page and join the Discord and keep this chat going in the Discord. Ram, thank you for the follow. What's the best way to learn full stack? Build in public, learn in public, and even teach in public. So content creation. I recommend creating content around what did you do today? What are you learning? What are the places that you ran into problems? Be very transparent about all these things. You'll build yourself a social network so that by the time you're job ready, you already have a large group of people who are willing to refer you, send you jobs, and help you. So absolutely building in public, building projects, project-based learning, and social learning. Lots of research showing that these are the most effective ways to learn concepts. And then also as a side effect, you build this social network that's related to your career. You can accelerate your career that way. Too fast, too furious. Thanks for the questions. Okay. So notice that I'm prompting using questions. I've found this approach to be successful when working with AI tools and also when working with humans, using lots and lots of questions instead of trying to boss people around and make statements and make accusations. Just be curious and use questions, and you can steer both AI tools and people in a productive direction. So here, Claude has said you make a good point. Using regular expressions can be fragile. Let's try a more structured approach. Hassan, Fortune, thanks for the follow, y'all. Over 1,900 likes. Awesome. Keep it going. Let's get 2,000. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Happy New Year almost. I guess we have maybe a week away. We're getting close if I don't see you by then. Larry X, thank you so much. I'm getting this canceled statement a bunch of times. I wonder why. All right, let's try to convert. All right, so it's still having trouble. I'll say for now, just extract the article titles only. print them into a single text file output. So I'm going to simplify the task. How did you get such good quality stream on TikTok? Brock, thanks for the question. I'm using OBS. Streamlabs, I have the premium Streamlabs with a nice camera. That's the answer. I have a premium Streamlabs with a nice answer. I do have like several videos on YouTube about content creation. If you want to go check those out. Plenty of tips on how to improve quality on your social content. Dami, thanks for the follow. Okay, so we're trying a different approach here. It's found 0 articles, even just looking for the titles. So I'm going to remind it of this WP dump file. Let me make sure it's even referencing the WP dump file. Okay, so it is referencing. Post title. Is it looking for post title? It's looking for insert into. Ah, that's the issue. Because it's a bulk insert. Oh, are the titles missing? That's interesting. Maybe I should understand my own SQL file a bit better. I was hoping to avoid having to do all that. Post title. And here I will go to 01 outside of cursor. Maybe this will help. Okay, so we'll have cursor think about that. In the meantime, I'll go to a slightly smarter model. This is one of those advantages in having multiple tools, right? Why learn full stack? Just because it gives you a broader count of job titles that you will be eligible for which to apply. So I think it's a great early career move. It can take you up to senior. You can be a senior full stack developer, it's fine. But you will start to see at the senior plus level that full stack developers are actually paid less than more specialized engineers at the FANG companies in big tech, basically. So there's a risk-reward trade-off in your job title. Lower risk with respect to employment when you capture more job titles. But when you capture those more jobs, it's kind of like a jack of all trades issue, right? So you're eligible for more jobs, but specialization pays better. So I recommend full stack early career to get your foot in the door, and then specializing later on is a smart move, really. Is there an issue with ChatGPT right now? Look at this. Yep, high error rates. Okay, so we will not go with ChatGPT. Who else can we ask? Gemini? I don't know if Gemini 2 is... Okay, so yeah, Gemini V2. Maybe this will work. We'll see how smart it is. Oh, that is my... I didn't prompt it very well. It's cutting off my ability to prompt. Look at that. Let's create a script that extracts article titles. Use Claude. I'm already using Claude in Cursor itself. That's the reason for looking at non-Claude models. Just use GPT-01. Did you just join? I just went over to ChatGPT and it was down. Maybe you missed that. So ChatGPT is down right now. Gemini is trash. Well, this is Gemini Generation 2. So you can't just bucket all of the Gemini models. You need to actually talk about the particular model. Yeah, I really think I could do a better job by hand at this point. This is pretty bad for Claude right now. So in the dump file, Gemini is assuming the file is called dump.sql, but it's actually called wp-dump. And we want to read from the parent folder. O1 is great with this stuff. Yeah, I agree. I wish it wasn't down. How about that O3, huh? That was a pretty cool demo. Can't wait till that one's available. Okay, so I'm getting Gemini to understand that we're going to run in a node environment. Gemini can't find it either. What do you like about projects? Let's see. They teach you all sorts of things besides code itself, like version control. Yeah, so Gemini is not able to comprehend the issue because I can't paste a large enough snippet. That's the issue. So we're getting limited off of this prompt interface, actually. All right, that's not going to work very well. We might end up having to do this by hand. Or wait until O1 is fixed. Oh, hey, we found some stuff. We found some stuff. This log stream is too long. The printed log stream is too long to paste. Let's exit the script after 20 iterations of processing complete. Absolutely love the content. I learn a lot here. Thank you so much, friends. So, thanks for the follow. Random facts, what do you like about projects? So one, it helps you learn it more deeply. The stuff besides script, like version control. Two, it provides a portfolio you can put on your resume and show an employer. That's another reason projects are great. It also enables you to learn additional skills later on. So if I understand how to build a blog in JavaScript, then it's easier for me to learn how to build a blog in Python because the domain knowledge of what a blog is held constant, and I just need to learn the syntax differences. So it also, in the long run, improves your learning efficiency by reducing the cognitive overhead of each marginal skill. Does that make sense? Rodrigo, thanks for the follow. Over 2,000 likes. We made it, team. Okay. Even this is pretty long. But I will send it anyway. Let's see. I only need to probably do these. Here are some logged results. So we do seem to be making progress, actually. Evan, thank you for the follow. Hey, what are we building over there on Twitch? Rashid, welcome in. So I'm trying to build a PHP myadmin SQL dump converter that converts from this nasty dump file into ideally markdown blog articles, ideally. But at the moment, I'm just trying to extract titles. I see the issue now. The script is finding the insert blocks, but we're not properly handling the status and type fields. Good. We're making progress. The issue was that we were using simple string splitting on commas, which doesn't work well for SQL. Exactly. That's exactly right. Thanks for being here from Twitch. Good to see you. If you're on TikTok, by the way, you can check the link in my bio and get access to all my socials, whether Twitch or YouTube, X, and so on. You can also visit ladderly.io and join the Discord. All right. Yes, and these are actual titles. These are actual titles. So here's article titles. I'll revert the Gemini script. Good. I don't use AI IDEs. Is this Cursor? Yep, this is Cursor. And so my strategy here is that I'll get the post date and the title. Then I'll be able to construct a file name. A file name. I'll add wp-dump.sql to the git ignore. So I'll purge this from the repo. Temporarily rename my dump file so that it appears as deleted in the git. And now I will restore the file name so that it is present in the expected location, and now it is git ignored. So I have an empty change graph as expected. And now even if I edit this file, the change does not register in my version control, and that's good. So basically taking this dump out of the GitHub repo. Good, and now I have article titles with date, and I have many more articles. Going up to 2023, that's about what I expect. Might have to try it out again. I tried it really early on and it felt to be a bit clunky. Yes, it is much better now. And in particular, after an update in mid-December, the agent experience got much better. So the introduction of agents to Cursor makes it a game changer. Like if you evaluated Cursor before agents were implemented, it's way better now. It's way better now. And then even the agent itself was clunky at first. And in mid-December, the agent was able to write to multiple files concurrently. and Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which is just a smarter base model. All of these improvements have accumulated into a really, really good experience today. After mid-December, like Merry Christmas, dude. Like after mid-December, it's way better to where I actually feel bad going back to ordinary VS Code now. Evan Bussey, thanks for the ice cream cone. Thank you so much. Over 2,200 likes. Y'all are awesome. What's everybody doing today? So I'm giving the model an example of an expected result here. This is called single shot prompting because I'm doing one example. It would be multi-shot prompting if I gave it multiple examples. Okay, so we're going one small step at a time. Currently it has two attributes it's extracting correctly. Now instead of printing a TXT file, I want to print a JSON file, and then we'll use that cleaned JSON. This is called data wrangling, what we're doing right now, data wrangling or data cleaning. So in the data science world, you have ETL, extract, transform, load, and so we're doing the extraction and the transformation right here. We're extracting and transforming into a JSON syntax, which can then be easily loaded or transpiled into Markdown from JSON. So by breaking the whole process up into smaller steps, the agent's able to do this much more effectively, and it's still saving me time compared to if I had to do all of this by hand. Nancy, thank you for the follow, Nancy. Albanian Spirit, thank you for the follow. Thanks for being here, y'all. Beck, thank you so much. Consider tapping the like button so that the algorithm will send the video around to other people who might be interested in the topic. Thanks for being here. Okay, so now I have an articles JSON. Let's look at this. Some problems with the apostrophe here. We'll see if we run into an issue there. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I think we're done with this article titles TXT now that we're on to the JSON stage. We'll see if we can get it to pull the article content. This is kind of the big deal. Zach, thanks for the follow. Xavier Chopper, what are you doing? We're taking a database dump, a raw text SQL file, and we're turning it into a markdown blog using AI. So I got sick and tired of WordPress. So this is a WordPress export, and I'm taking this WordPress export and then I'm making it into a standalone blog without all the complexity of WordPress. Fish, thanks for the follow. All right, so it seems to be working, although we have this huge text block in each case. And it's logging, which is making noisy logs. So I'm asking it to only print the file path when it prints those logs. Do you think devs should have a blog? Like if they're looking for a job, I have Portfolio and GitHub. If you have a portfolio, you should be good to go. If you don't have a portfolio, I recommend making a blog, because I think it's a simple site that employers understand, that developers also understand. So everyone understands how to do it. It's recognizable. It's straightforward to implement. So if you don't have a portfolio, I recommend building a blog. But if you already have a portfolio, you don't need another blog. Like, it's optional. If you want to blog, feel free. But if you already have a portfolio, you should be good to go. Now, if you have a portfolio and you are not able to land an interview, or if you're getting comments like people are telling you that they don't like your projects, maybe you need to build another project. And so when you're considering what is the next project you will build, a blog is an option on the table, but it's not like you need to have a blog. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So we have all of these articles we're printing. Do you have a blog? Yes, I do. That's what this is all about. That's what this whole stream is about. I actually have multiple blogs. I have a Substack as well. Okay, now let's try to render these. Is there any other metadata we should pull? Let's see. Post author, date, title, status. I think I do have some draft articles in here. Do you build a blog from scratch, full stack, or use something like Medium or something? The answer is neither. So this is being built from scratch, but it is not full stack. There's no database here. It is going to be statically compiled. Strawberry Pizza, thanks for the follow. Why do static compiling? Better performance. So the end user will not need to wait on a database call to view the articles. Cool, and I think that's all I want to extract out of this SQL file. So I think we're done if this works. What do you guys think of Golang for the job market? What is your level of seniority? As an early career developer, I don't think that Golang will help you much. But as a senior developer attempting to specialize, Golang is a great specialization language. It's a really good specialization language. When do you start the live? We are 1 hour and 20 minutes into this live. Gentleman Caller says, I'm just front end, 4 years of experience, but thinking of learning back end. Well, yeah, so you would be like a mid-level, maybe early senior. You could go for Golang. I think it will be maybe a difficult mental model for you. I don't know. If you're like super smart, maybe you can pick it up. In general, what I would recommend is if you're front end, you already know JavaScript. Maybe you've upskilled to TypeScript. So learn Node and learn the back end first using the skills you already know. And then Golang would be a second or even a third step. I might suggest you learn Python before Golang. Because of job counts, interview facility. So Python is a great interviewing language. And some other reasons, flexibility on use cases. It's just more used. It's more used. But that's what I would do. I would go back end and the skills that you already know and then learn Golang if you're itching to learn Golang. You could go for it, but if you find it to be difficult, like, don't give up. I'm just concerned that Node jobs are more saturated. So notice what I said. I would learn Node for your upskilling, not for the job market. I would learn Node for your mental model so that you could proceed to Golang. Learning Node is going to help you learn Golang. That's what I'm telling you. So you can jump right into Golang if you want, but I think it's going to be easier for you to learn Node than learn Go. Just one extra project. If you're thinking from a project standpoint, you already know full stack. You already know front end. Next, build a full stack project. Then maybe consider building a pure API that's only back end, and then Golang. So 1 or 2 projects in the middle there. Where does Python come in? Python can be used as another backend language. So if you learn Node, you can then learn Python. And the advantage to learning Python is that it will improve your interview performance. Now, here's a survey that I have not run. among developers that know Golang, do they prefer to interview using Python or Golang? I don't have data on that question. So if you find that Golang is like so nice so you can interview with it, go for it. But if I look at places like LeetCode, NeetCode, and other data structure and algorithm preparation platforms, Python has much better support. I can be wrong, but I don't see Python roles for web backend. Yeah, you're wrong about that. Sorry to put you on the spot, but there are thousands, probably tens of thousands of backend Python development jobs available today. Now, the titles may vary. So this is where your keywords that you're using, it can play an important role. So if you're searching for backend Python developer, you're probably not going to find a lot of those with that exact title. That's true. But if you just look for Python developer, you're going to find a lot. Hey.
I love you.
Do you want to say hi?
Oh, yeah.
You see right there? Say hi.
Hi.
See you later.
See you later.
Jeff, thanks for the follow. Gentleman caller, I see Python often enough when I do algo tutorials. Exactly. Okay. So we've written these things into the article.json. Have we updated? Let me run this. And have we found any drafts? Yep, there's a couple of them. Okay, cool. Did you go Python algo for your last job interviews? Yes. I have been interviewing in Python for like four or 5 years now, something like that. Yeah, I prefer to interview in Python, definitely. Okay, so now we're distinguishing drafts. So now let's proceed. So Node, Python, then Golang. That's what I would recommend, yeah. Let me know how that goes. You can try to go Node, then Golang directly. You can try that, and that might work. I think Golang is a pretty nice language, so that might work for you. So maybe if you want to do like a two-day time box, and maybe you find that Golang just works like buttery smooth, and then you saved yourself some time learning Python, which could take a few weeks. That might be an approach to save you a few weeks, maybe. I don't know how much of a hurry that you're in. But I do think it'll be great for you to have all three of those languages on your resume. I think that'd be fantastic. Because then you do really show general software engineering skill, full stack, and this cool differentiator of Golang. And I think you're setting yourself up for senior at that point, to be honest with you. What AI are you using here? I am using Claude 3.5 Sonnet as the base model in the Cursor Agent, developer tool. Show Run says, best way to learn JSTS React Node. The best way is projects. Project-based learning for the win. So in the Latterly, you can go to the Latterly blog, check the blogs. The standard 4 projects that we recommend, a Next.js blog is the second project. And so by that time, you will know JS, TS, React, and Node. I got to go study. Thanks. Catch you later. See you later. Thanks for being here. Have a good one. Robiel, thank you for the follow. Let's see, 48 new followers in today's stream. I wonder if we can get up to 50. Wonder if we can get 2 more followers. Thanks for being here, y'all. Over 700 viewers. That's awesome. I don't know if they're all here now, but 700 viewers for the stream. That's really cool. Steve, thank you for the follow. And over 2,500 likes. Great job, y'all. What was the site again? Latterly. Let me pull it up on screen. Oop, that's LinkedIn. Oops. You can check my bio as well, and it'll have a link to this site, open source, latterly.io, GitHub in the footer there. You can also join the Discord through the community tab, which I highly recommend. Improve your social networking. Come chat after the stream. If you have any questions that I don't answer during the stream, you can come ask them there. And the particular blog article talking about the standard 4 projects, building a quality portfolio. The big 4 projects. I'm still struggling with CSS. I feel like it's too much to remember. This is a common pain point. You're not alone. This is one of the reasons Tailwind has gotten so popular. The good news is you don't need to memorize CSS. You don't need to memorize CSS. Less than 5% of employers, maybe around 1% of employers, will be asking you CSS questions at interview time. The usual thing to do here is you look it up. You look it up on an as-needed basis. And language models are perfect for this use case. So you can describe in ordinary English to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whoever, any of these agents, any of these language models. The changes that you would like to make, I would like to improve the spacing, I'd like to change this color or that color, and it will give you the CSS literal. So you don't need to memorize the CSS literal. Dan, thanks for the follow. Is that Claude? Yes, we're using Claude. Love to see it, right? I noticed 2 issues. 1, previously, I'm having some lag on the keyboard here. Previously, about 103 articles were found, and now 109 are found. Our draft, I can just read this, right? Preliminary. So it's not creating duplicates, I don't think. Okay, I'll ignore that. I don't see files. I don't see any markdown files being created. Is that Claude with cursor? Yes, it is. And congrats, chat. We got over 50 new followers on the stream. Thank you so much. Thanks for being here. Is web dev still worth learning to land a job considering all of the AI tools out there? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. The answer is yes. AI is not replacing programmers. An engineer that knows how to use AI is replacing a programmer that doesn't know how to use AI. That's the right mindset. And don't take my word for it. Go to Indeed.com and check the job count yourself. Loads and loads of developer jobs. Now, with web development, there are many job titles involved. So don't just search web developer. You're going to want to search JavaScript developer, React developer, Vue.js developer, Angular developer. There are many job titles involved besides just web developer, full stack developer. All of these job titles you will be eligible to apply for once you have a portfolio that has the standard 4 projects recommended by Latterly. Does that make sense? Thanks, Nancy. Zero, what's happening here? We're converting a SQL text dump from WordPress. We're converting it into WordPress blog we're converting it into Markdown blog articles. So we're abandoning WordPress. We're taking WordPress data and then using Cursor to let us turn that into a static React website. I wonder if they're just being ignored. Nope. Where are they being written? Okay, so let's look on the script. Where's the stuff being written? Okay, so it was just not implemented. Zero says, I've been trying to switch to Cursor for a while, still on VS Code though. VS Code's great, I love it, but in late December 2024 / in 2025, I really prefer Cursor. 6 months ago, 12 months ago, no, it was clunky, but now it's awesome. Good prompter. Thanks, Jody. What can you claim as experience on your resume? Well, you can claim 2 things. One, if you've been paid to do a job, even if it's freelancing, but definitely if it's W-2 employment, you can claim that. And then 2, your portfolio projects. They count as experience, and you should advocate for that strongly. You might get an employer here and there that doesn't buy it, and that's fine. You don't need all the employers to buy it. Most will. Most will say that that is valid. But you will need to provide evidence about those projects. You can't just say, I did a thing. This is where GitHub comes in. You show those projects and you show those little green squares, and now you have demonstrated evidence, not just words, that show that you've been coding for that long. I feel like I should learn prompting before continuing web dev. You can, and I have some videos on YouTube about that. More than 10 search techniques, check out that video. Check out this video. I'm gonna add a paywall soon. It's currently free, but I'm gonna start charging for this video. But I will say, if you just use language models for a few months, you kind of get the feel of how to work with them. So there are like particular practices we can do, like act as role-based prompting. Delimiters are going to be really important. Breaking up prompts into multiple single task steps, also called chain of thought prompting. Avoiding negatives, which can trigger token confusion. Those would be like 4 practices just off the top of my head. And they are important, and there's plenty of research demonstrating you get better outputs or whatever. But also, if you just work with them for several months, you sort of just get the feel for it. You don't need to do all of the practices all of the time. A 5th one is file location anchoring, which is a prompt technique that at the top of this video I talked about. So getting the agent to understand the locations in your directory is another kind of big one when dealing with code repositories. Your YouTube channel name, please. It's in my bio. You can check the link in my bio. It's Latterly. Latterly is the channel name, but you can also just check my TikTok bio. Has anyone used Cursor AI for big projects? Yep. Sure have. Loop through each post, create markdown content with front matter, write each to a markdown file. Well, it says it's doing this. What should be a realistic time frame for me to learn web dev? Keep in mind that I'm 32. I think under a year, under 1 year. And I recommend using a coding bootcamp. And most high quality, and do not pick a random coding bootcamp, bro. This is so important. Most coding bootcamps are not good. I've done PhD level research on this. Like, you can take my word for it or look up my dissertation. If you don't trust me, just go look at the research. Most coding bootcamps are not good, but a good coding bootcamp is good. And so you need to pick the right coding bootcamp. And Latterly will, if you read through the blog, there's like technical ways that you can do this. Anyway, among high quality bootcamps, the typical timeline is like 4 to 10 months. 4 to 10 months is their timeline. So I agree with that. Allison, thanks for the follow. Tried a bootcamp. They basically taught stuff I could find on Google and YouTube. They all will. Everything that any bootcamp teaches you is going to be found if you know the right way to Google and like the right sources to look up. That's the service they offer. It's a curation service. So the problem is that if you knew the right things to Google search, you could learn it all on your own. But there's a few problems with that. One, you actually don't know the things to search for. So this is the curation service. They have found the best resources and put them in the right order. That's all that education is, by the way. Like high school, that's all that your high school teacher was doing. Your high school teacher was not creating the biology textbook. Your high school teacher was part of a system that understood how to find high quality materials and then order them unit by unit in a way that's productive for student outcomes. That's what educators do. So educators are not researchers. They're two distinct roles. I know if you go to university, your professor might wear both hats. To varying quality. But acting qua educator, that is what they do. It's a curation service. So 3 things. So 1, they're giving you the things to learn in the right order. 2, they have relationships with employers if you go to a high quality bootcamp. So there's the networking aspect. Yeah, you could have Googled out on your own, but you would have not been learning in a group-based setting with peers, and you would not have the institutional relationship to help you get an interview. So these are other things that good coding bootcamps offer. Learning with other people, this is called social learning. So learning in a group context, lots of research to show it improves outcomes. You could go Google bro's YouTube channel. Like I have a YouTube channel. Go check out my YouTube channel. Research shows that beyond just watching the video, getting into a group context where you're discussing it with other people reinforces the concepts neurally. Okay. And then, yeah, it's all about the job search. So the third thing is like things like reviewing your resume. They should be doing this. And you could do that on your own. You can just, if you know the right things to Google, you can figure out how to write a high quality resume. I have an open source resume generator tool. Go check it out if you want to. And then the skin in the game from paying the money. So the biggest issue to people learning to code is drop off. Just like in college, one of the biggest issues is dropping out. If you can somehow create a situation where you're guaranteed not to drop out, you significantly improve your results right away, just because you didn't drop out. And one of the problems with self-teaching, beyond the fact that people don't really know how to like look up the right resources, is that they also just don't do the thing. Even if they find a good video, they don't watch it to completion. They don't implement a project using it. But when you pay thousands of dollars to a boot camp, there's an incentive that's created called skin in the game. And this is augmented with coding bootcamp teachers and peer effects, creating this peer pressure, and then the teachers will follow up with you. They often have requirements around what you are supposed to do. And all of these things, like in a coaching way, like following up with you, did you do X, Y, and Z? All of these incentives cause you to actually follow through, including the skin of the game, the thousands of dollars where you tell yourself, I just spent thousands of dollars and I can go get a coding job, things will be great. Or if I drop out, that was just like a waste of money. So that creates a really big incentive for you to actually follow through. So these are some of the reasons that a coding bootcamp is a very useful structure and institution, even if it's true, and it is true, that if you knew the right things to Google search, you could look up most of that material and get a comparable quality somewhere on the open web. I use the cursor and it rarely fails to apply. Why do you fail often? Yeah, I don't know. It's just been happening today. It hasn't been doing this. Maybe I need to like restart my computer. Another issue could be the context problem. So I loaded in this enormous SQL file. And I think that could be creating a problem with the model. So a solution there, we can test that out together. I'll try to apply it once more. If it doesn't work, I will just create a new composer session. Drum roll, please. Cross your fingers for me. It's asking me to accept the file, but I don't see any changes. Canceled. Boo. Y'all didn't cross your fingers, did you? Come on, chat. Come on, chat. All right, so we'll do a new composer session. So here I'm purging that SQL file out of the context. And I'm creating a new, are you sure you want to create a new composer? So say reject all, I'll create a new one. And now you can see it's not aware of that big SQL file anymore. Let me add in the package JSON. Okay, create a script which reads articles.json and creates markdown blog articles under the content folder. There should be one markdown file produced for each JSON array data element. The file name is given in the property file name, right? Let's double check. Nancy crossed her fingers. Thanks, Nancy. Too little, too late, I guess. So here, this approach, instead of updating the existing script, in this approach, we're creating a second script. But in the package.json, we can see that the convert method will run both. So it's going to run the SQL Markdown, and then the two ampersands means and then it will run this JSON to Markdown. So I'll use the same command. And look, I have all my Markdown files. Boom. Looks pretty ugly because I haven't done HTML parsing. I think that's fine. We can do that later. This is where I wanted to get for now. And now I'd like to render them. Now I'd like to render them. Now update the Next.js blog application to render. I'd really like to build it to statically build these Markdown files into Next.js pages. Let's do one thing at a time. So I'll do that for now. And then the error that I saw, we'll deal with that separately. Okay, so I'm accepting these changes, and I'll say update the README with any information relevant to the new static build pattern. And we're not seeing the failure to apply anymore, are we? So I think it's to do with that extremely large SQL file. Okay, so it's updating use client. I'm going to push back. It's telling me to use client. I'm going to push back on that. Although it's related to the theme, so that could be okay. It's for the light mode, dark mode. That makes sense. That makes sense. Now let's see if we can compile those pages. Compiled successfully. Oh no, we almost made it. We almost made it. I received the build error below. Keep in mind, we are using the app directory. Okay, so let's try to build again. It's going to format the date. Always running into problems with dates, aren't we? All right. Okay, so here is the blog. Here is the blog. Let me look in the output. Is it making the individual pages? Compiling succeeds, but only four pages were compiled. Good, good, good. So get all post slugs. I think that should fix the issue. Collecting page data, generating paths for 109 posts. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. All right, so the content is missing. Interesting. Yeah, the article content is missing. Let me also check the head tag. Okay, it does update the title appropriately. That's good. Slick Rick, thanks for the follow. We'll improve the styling here a bit. Yeah, where's the article content? Okay, I wonder if it's using the wrong property name. So we have post.content. Post is a post. Await get post data. Convert markdown string into HTML. So I wonder if this is working. Where's HTML come from? Slightly better style here. I don't like how it's pushed all the way to the left. Should I prioritize CompTIA or finding an entry-level IT position for experience? That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. So you're going for security, right? Otherwise, why would you be doing CompTIA? If you are going for security, the answer is I don't know. If you're not going for security, then I would prioritize getting an entry-level role because I don't know what else that certification is really useful for. Yes, looking to get in GRC or pen test later on. It's been pretty hard to find an entry-level position. I'm a senior in college. Yeah, I don't have too much of a way to help you. I mean, what I would suggest is go for software engineering. I don't know why cybersecurity seems to be like a lot of people in college want to go for that, and then they say that it's hard to get a job. It's just a niche field. It's just going to be hard to get a job. It's more of a niche. There's just fewer pen testing roles open. So I guess that would be my advice. I don't know if you want to hear it, but you can get a degree in cybersecurity and then get a job as a software engineer. Like you can make that pivot. It's not getting this right. Look at this. Minimum height. All right, let's use an image here. Cool thing about the agent, I can send an image. I'll try one more time before I submit that message. Yeah. All right, I won't spend too much time on the site style. I think I can fix that outside of the stream. So that will be the last submission that I send for style. I want to get the content showing, and then we'll wrap. So I think we have 10 minutes left. Still not working. Okay, I'll deal with that later. Now can I go to the post page and still toggle it? So here I am. Oof, that light mode really hurts my eyes. Yeah, okay. So here's the page file for each article. Here's the post content. Oh, and I noticed 3LI says in LA, it's been pretty hard to find a position. I guess they've left the stream now, but the other option would be to move locations. So being able to relocate, being willing to relocate, particularly at early career, is a superpower. Give you many more options. I am not happy, I said. How else would you phrase that? I've asked it to do static compiling like many times. You're right on both counts. That's what I love to hear, Claude. That's what I love to hear. Florescu, welcome in. So let's npmi the new dependencies. I'm happy to see remark parse. That's actually what I expect. Maybe I can just fix that myself. So it's looking at posts.json, which is the wrong location. Should be looking at articles.json. Oh, that seemed to resolve it. Great. Okay. The URL is undefined. Let me make sure I stage those changes, because it might unintentionally revert my fix otherwise. Oh, wow. The accepting was ineffective somehow. That's kind of interesting. Let me install again. I expect to see a package lock change. Here's pre-build. Okay. Build content. After econ scripts, build content TS. Oh, it's a TS file. Maybe I should add some more files to its context. It already has the context down here. I think it understands the issue. The issue is it's mixing up file extensions. Do a smiley face. I like TypeScript. So it's proposing a change to my TS config. Okay. Let's make sure it knows my node version. Yeah, I think it doesn't understand my node version. I think that's the issue. Different versions of Node have changed the way that we interface with common JS modules. Good. I like this syntax more. Okay, so we see our list. No content available. Bummer. Oh, we fixed the routes. Got an article slug fix. And I think I've hit my time box. That's going to do it for today.